probably the dearest man, the sweetest man, the most loving man that I know is Gustavo Barcellos. And I think you've been here 4 or 5 times now. All I know for sure is every time that you and the dear friends that come with you, you pervade the whole place with love. Thank you. And I miss you all year long. I truly do. I mean, it's quite amazing. And Gustavo is really very responsible for, translating many of Jim Hillman's books into Portuguese, for establishing a group of people who work and study together and are developing archetypal psychology in Brazil. We're waiting to get that political. Hurry up! He's involved in many of the Jungian societies but Jim and I used to talk about how do you recognize someone with the capacity of archetypal psychology? And one of the main ways of sensing, there's somebody who could really develop in archetypal psychology, has to do with what we call the twist. The twist. It's this capacity to take an ordinary word, twist it metaphorically, and it opens up the image. This is the master of the twist. Gustavo.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you these words. Thank you, Gail, Joanne, Larry, for having me here again. And it's wonderful to be here. I'm very happy. It's so nice to see friends and friendly faces. And I mentioned that because I'll make a few remarks on friendship this morning. So, my subject is the dog, and what dogs have taught me. So in this book, James Hillman's essay, it's called You Dirty Dog. You Dirty Dog. So that's the essay that called my attention. In that essay, Hillman, we are guided to seriously consider what it really means to follow nature. That seems to me a very important idea, and I want to follow that idea, for it can give us another perspective different from the more usual notion Jungians have used so far to understand the animal presences or the presence of nature in our psychic lives, instinct. That, of course, reduces animals and the animal kingdom only to instinctual life. I want to follow Hillman in this direction and consider the dog image, or image as dog, in dreams, fantasies, and behavior as a true psychopompos, a guide to distant lands, a true guide we can follow, for that is also how dogs appear in the imagination of folklore and of so many mythologies around the world. The dog is ambivalent. Its duplicity shows, on one side, the domestic animal who is friend and companion, the family pet, and on the other, the wild predator, wolfish and solitary, canine ferocity. This ambivalence of the dog shows him as wonder and healer, hot and cold at the same time. Among so many characteristics of the dogs, I want to focus attention on but 2 of them, guidance and loyalty, or friendship, and how they connect to each other. First of all, Each animal is a psychopompus. And Hillman says, quote, leading human consciousness to yield its stereophobic exclusivity, restoring participation in the animal kingdom. But which specific kind of guidance is the dog? If the emphasis and the importance of the celebrated guidance of Greek god Hermes, for instance, could be understood as having more to do with communication, with the exchange of messages, Hermes the messengers. Maybe with the dog we are in a different level of guidance in the psyche, a level most familiar and least conceptual, even more natural. At this level, it is my impression that the emphasis of the dog guidance may lie more on transport, movement, helping us to make transitions between worlds, known and unknown, our day and night worlds of life and death. Dogs are true loyal companions, and they are always taking us somewhere, into realms where we could not venture unaided. For they can smell over immense inner distances, leading us even when they attack us, as in bad dreams, as if they were always trying to dissolve our rational, intellectual attitudes into a more relaxed or affectionate and spontaneous responses, a deeper authenticity due to their keen feeling for truth of the heart, their unconditional love. Messenger. Okay. Second, it is my impression that the dog image guides us, teaching something important about friendship. The dog as our ultimate animal friend. The essential qualities of the dog are courage, responsiveness, and loyalty. All of these qualities follow a lesson in friendship. In what follows, I would like to make a few remarks on friendship, for that is what I learned from dogs. Friendship, fidelity, loyalty, altruism, trust, honesty, deep affection, companionship, and complicity are some of its most noble and difficult feelings. The heart, the affective life, brings to this reflection a powerful metaphor that places our subject in the right place. A friendship feeling is multiple, polycentric, should we say polytheistic. Gods influence it, and our psychology demonstrates that it can be experienced through the feeling tone of different archetypes. There are several kinds of friendships. From the simple, trivial companionships of our lives are so full of, to more loyal and committed companionship from those we call best friends. From the imaginary friend to the dead friend. From the epistolary friendship of old times, the pen friends, to virtual friends, the ones I so easily add into my computer social networks, often not actually knowing the person, a bodiless friendship. From commitment of real, sincere relationships to the uncompromising one-night stands. Yes, this bond is as plastic, as variable, as essential. We do not exist fully without friends. Without them, life is sad. From Plato to Aristotle to Renaissance and its philosophers and writers, friendship has been viewed as the natural consequence of a well-developed eros. The capacity of or openness for friendship is the way to measure the quality of a man's soul. One thing is certain, there is no love without friendship, and we say that friendship is a kind of love, a powerful kind of love, for it faces and wins age, race, color, sexual preference, family, tribe, party, ideology, geography, barriers. In other words, friendship conquers the barriers of the ego. For many times we are friends of those we did not want to, or did not intend to, or even do not know we are. And sometimes we want to be friends to those we cannot. A failure that upsets the soul. This makes me think that friendship belongs to anima, not to us. And so it belongs to the animal. Anima decides, we follow. Hillman said that Eros' arrow falls wherever it wants, for both love and friendship. In my opinion, anima teaches us that ours is not a lonely existence, but rather an existence with the other. Love is never alone, an abstraction of the mind only, but it is always love with the other. Calling this other hell in a pessimistic existentialist nihilism, or lost paradise in the naive and unconscious projections of deeper existential oceanic needs, is secondary to the anima obligation of living together. Anima has to do with relations. And quoting Montaigne, the French philosopher Montaigne, in his famous essays, a book written to help lessen the pain of an important friendship loss, communication nurtures friendship. Its practice betters the soul, the philosopher said. This improvement of the soul depends on living together. And every companionship, every happy companionship, aspires to being a friendship, dreams of a friendship. Friendship also means accepting the other as he really is. A commonplace is to say that friendship is fundamental because our friends are our mirror, that through them we may see what we really are. Accepting the other as he really is has nothing to do with this. In my opinion, this mirror idea keeps us locked in ourselves, only looking for ourselves, seeing only ourselves in unconscious projections of the shadow. Of course, there is mirroring in friendship, and the specular imagination is true in itself. But I would rather think that a friend is not a mirror, but a window to the world, to another world. And thus I think we need fewer mirrors and better windows. Windows with beautiful views, which allow us to see other worlds, or the world as it really is. Dreams and friends are good not to mirror us, but to help us get out of ourselves, learning to accept the other as he really is. A friend, a real friend, is a relief. Therefore, so much pleasure in friendship. Unable to build bridges, isolated, we disappear. A friend brings us out of ourselves, and this is her value. This is his, her value, taking us to another world. Taking us to another world. A world we may share, but also need to discover. We discover ourselves by building real bridges, and not by withdrawing projections. That's the Jungian classical term. By the way, bridge means communication at the same level, connecting similar sides. Therefore, it is a masterful image of symmetry. A bridge has something of Hermes, something of Eros, but the soul is a labyrinth, anima and its scripts, its entanglements. Between labyrinths and bridges, we move, sometimes getting lost within ourselves or the world, with no way out, caught up by complexes and complications, in trouble. Other times, connected, projected to the other, towards the other, in haste, communicative, in community. The dog image in the psyche. Okay. The dog image in the psyche, in dreams and fantasies, in symptoms and pains, teaches us humans something about how to live friendship and loyalty, but also offers us the idea of reciprocity in the relationship between humans and animals, in a clear challenge to make these historically so unequal relationships more symmetrical. It is a way to get rid of anthropocentrism and, now the word, speciesism. Species is speciesism. It's a neologism, right? A word created by the British psychologist Richard Ryder to refer to the inequality of animals due to their non-belonging to the human species. It is the assumption of human superiority leading to the exploitation of animals. For humans to recognize one's animality in a more horizontal perspective towards all animals as friends would take man away from the center of historical and psychological references, both individually and culturally. And we would allow the animal to build the way back to the anima, back to soul. That's a nice one. So this is our dogs back home. I understand that in James Hillman's view, the animal is where you connect to nature. That is why they can teach us to follow nature. But even more importantly, an animal as image is where you can connect to soul through specific soul qualities that are natural, that are animal qualities. The animal, I suggest, teaches us to follow soul. My claim here is that the dog image shows us the image as friend. And James Hillman also had this wonderful reflection about befriending the image. You might remember that part of his book In Search, where he talks about befriending the dream, befriending the image. So I think the dog, the image of the dog, for me at least, is the image that shows us more the image as friend. So if we examine the passionate, sometimes hot and ferocious presence of the dog in many human dreams, when we often freeze of fear, cold dreams, we may find this healing purpose of the dog image inside us. Concerning the appearance of the dog in dreams, the dog of the imagination, our soul dog, it seems to want to make us aware of our soul nature, that we are souls even more than we are nature, made of soul stuff. To do this, to remember us of our soul nature, I think dogs may sometimes have to bite us. Animals in dreams, more than restoring our relationship to nature, to body, are restoring our relationship to psyche. Okay, so in this year of the dog, 2018, the dog image for me can be seen as guiding us in the constant emotional changes that psyche and life demand, changing your life. The dog of the imagination can show us how to move from mere biophilia, this bond with animals, to a zoopoetics of the soul, So now to end, I just would like to read the last phrase of James Hillman's essay on the dog, "You Dirty Dog," because I think it's very beautiful. So if you allow me, I'll read this last sentence. Quote, "Those virtues," he's speaking about the dog, of course, "those virtues, loyalty, bravery, command, and a certain sweet affection that radiates from your dog are as much potentials in the owner's character as in the dog's. A mutuality of natures. The dog becomes familiaris, the old word for household soul carrier, because owner and animal are familiar in soul, angel to angel, each knowing how deep the soul can delve, how dark the passage." James Hillman. Thank you very much.